As the Christmas bells were ringing and the children were singing on the wind-up island of Sodor, Edward was heading to Maithwaite Station with a train of empty cattle wagons. Hello, Percy. Why do you look so glum? I'm taking these empty cattle wagons to Farmer McCall's farm, because he has some cows that need to be taken to the Highlands for the summer.
Edward, there's no Christmas spirit this year. There's been no Christmas lights anywhere on the wind-up island of Sodor, and even the station master's tree has a saggy star.
I must say, Percy, this is the least amount of Christmas lights I've ever seen for as long as I can remember. But what can we do about it?
I don't know, Edward, and that's what makes me so sad. Christmas is only 2 days away, and it doesn't even feel like it's the silly season. The only person who feels silly is me.
Percy, I'm sure we can figure something out. As soon as I've delivered these cows, I'll speak to the Fat Controller. He'll know what to do. We'll have the Christmas spirit right back on the wind-up island of Sodor, just in time for the big day. I promise. After picking up Farmer McCall's cows, Edward took them to the transfer yards, so Skarloey could take them to the adjustment property up in the hills. My goodness, Edward, they smell shocking! What's wrong with these cows? They seem to not like travelling, or the heat, which is why Farmer McCall wanted them on this hill adjustment property, where it should be cooler for the summer. Alrighty then, just load them up quick, I don't want them making too much mess of these yards. In a moment, the stinky, smelly cows were loaded from Edward's train into Skarloey's train. Skarloey, have you noticed any Christmas spirit in the hills? There seems to be hardly any on the standard gauge line. Not really, my friend. It's very disappointing. I wonder if there's something we can do about it. The Fat Controller will know what to do. I'll ask him as soon as I'm back to Knapford Station. Goodbye, Skarloey, and good luck. Gosh, these cows are starting to stink already. On the way to the new adjustment property, Skarloey could hear very strange sounds coming from the cattle wagons. Oh gosh, what a terrible smell, and what a terrible mess! This is going to take forever to clean up these carriages. Skarloey finally fully pulled in at the farm station. That was horrible! Those cows can't travel to save their own lives! The cows were quickly unloaded, but Skarloey's driver and fireman were quick to complain. They've made such a mess! I don't even know how this carriage is supposed to be used ever again! Let's go! The faster we're out of here, the faster we can leave these stinky carriages behind. Skarloey headed back to the transfer yards when he suddenly felt his wheels slipping and sliding along the rails when he tried to brake down a hill. The mess that the cows created had evaporated, then condensed along the wheels and the braking lines, stopping the carriages from braking properly. Arrest my axles! I'm not going to be able to stop! Good thing there's a junction at the bottom of the hill, that should stop me. Meanwhile, the Fat Controller had dipped into the spare funds, which he had left over from the compensation paid by the company who made the bad suspension bridge, and decided to splurge and buy some Christmas lights for all the stations on the railway. James had been ordered to pick them up, and he was very excited. Skarloey emerged from the tunnel, arriving at the junction, and tried to use the bottom of the hill to slow down. But then there was trouble. James was coming through the standard gauge line on the junction.
Bust my boiler! I've got to stop!
James applied his brakes, but he stopped too quickly, meaning his cars were still fouling the junction. Yikes! Cried Skarloey, as he crashed into the vans that were full of Christmas lights. Luckily, Skarloey was wedged across the junction while his driver and fireman jumped clear. However, Skarloey's push had sent the trucks rolling off a conveniently located cliff.
I came in like a wrecking ball. I never hit so hard in love. All I wanted was to break your walls. All you ever did was wreck me. Yeah, you wrecked me.
Oh no! Miley Cyrus's song has destroyed the batteries in the Christmas lights, causing them to explode. Everything's ruined.
Botheration! How are we supposed to save the Christmas spirit now?
Soon the Fat Controller arrived on board of Toby. He walked over to the two derailed engines. I must first acknowledge that this accident was no one's fault. I've asked Mr. McCall to further clarify when his cows have travelling difficulties. Yes, please, sir. I'm sure you can still smell the wagons behind me.
Yes, please, sir. I'd appreciate it, sir, if you could get someone to take us away from these trucks, sir.
Harvey and Rocky are on their way now. Thank you, Toby, but I must sadly inform you that we won't be able to rejuvenate the Christmas spirit on the wind-up island of Sodor anymore without those Christmas lights. There's no money left. But sir, that's where you're wrong. Mine and Edward's crew went out to Kmart and bought the super cheap solar lights for only $17 for 200. They're simply a bargain. and we decided we'd give them out to their houses near all the train stations in the hope it might encourage them to put up Christmas lights. We think it worked.
Oh, very interesting, Toby. In that case, there's no cause for alarm. I'll make sure Rocky's here quick pronto, so I can see how well you and Edward have been working.
That evening, all the engines came to the transfer yards, because although they'd seen the lights had worked at Knapford and Tidmouth sheds, Skarloey couldn't get there as he was a narrow gauge engine, so all the engines decided to join him to celebrate the rejuvenation of the Christmas spirit. I hope we have as much success up here in the hills as you did on the main lines.
I hope so, Skarloey. The lights that people had put up at Knapford station were fantastic. It seems all these people have money and the time to put up lights. They just don't think they're going to be worth it.
Even though everyone only had one set of lights, it's amazing the difference in community spirit that you can see. If only people all around the world would just put in that little bit of effort. It's not like Christmas lights are expensive anymore, especially when they bring so much joy to everyone else. Well then, what are we waiting for? Let's turn out the lights. Alright everyone, for the countdown. 3, 2, 1.
Let's hope this works, Edward.
And then, the Fat Controller pressed the button, switching off the large depot lights at the transfer yards. It's wonderful! It looks like the hills do have more Christmas spirit, Skarloey.
We could get used to this kind of flashy lights thing, couldn't we, Pinchy? What's gotten into him?
If I didn't know any better, I'd say the Christmas spirit. If Diesel 10's enjoying himself, I'd say this was a resounding success. Well done, Toby and Edward. Well done, and a Merry Christmas to all.
And on that note, everyone, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from TrainzXtreme. Because be ready, 2014 is going to be the biggest and the best year for TrainzXtreme yet. Stories of Earth, World